We got some good files here today. Welcome to Case Files Task Force, the show that's kind of a set that's just mirrored down the middle. You got this side and that side, and we move together.
It's like a multiverse.
Oh. I'm Trevor, that's Alfredo, and Fredo, we have a very interesting episode for you today.
Yeah, you guys teased me with this one. Conspiracies that turned out to be true.
Sometimes conspiracies are real.
I don't like that at all.
Get your tinfoil hat out because we're about to dive in.
Well, in my mind, conspiracies are conspiracies.
Right.
They're they could be or they could not be, but it's a conspiracy.
Well, welcome to the top of the funnel. We're about to deep dive you into the misinformation algorithm, but we're gonna start with one that you kind of know about. We did a whole episode on this one, so that way we can ease you on in. All right, MKUltra, the conspiracy that the government was running some sort of test on mind wiping and mind control. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, turned out to be true. In the 1970s, an article by Seymour Hersh alleged that the CIA was investigating US citizens. Now what's interesting about this particular article is that the FBI is usually the one doing internal investigations while the CIA is doing foreign threats outside the border. So it was weird that he's claiming that they're looking inward on us.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I like that at least, the FBI is looking inwards. Mm-hmm. That's cool, because you always have to, even as an individual, you gotta check yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wipe your browser history, clear your cache.
Yes. Just have that red button you can smash.
Yeah.
And your car's going off a cliff and you're just like, where? No, wait,
where's my button?
my button.
Jillian, can we write that down? Can we get a button that wipes your internet history? I think we can sell that. She's got it.
I mean,
that's a good one.
True.
I like that
that's
idea.
True.
Well, Hersh's article gained so much traction that it led to President Ford then launching a full-on investigation. He's like, what's going on? I'm the head of the government. I'm the tip of the pyramid. I don't know what's going on. So the CIA was actually testing various doses of LSD on prisoners, people seeking psychological help, even their own employees. They would kind of drip it into their coffee just to see what would happen.
That's messed up.
Oh yeah, and it gets way worse than that, but essentially they were trying to test to see if they could use mind control on people. And
I mean, I know they're probably doing it with like captive people. And there it is. I knew it tasted funny.
I was just
starting
clicking
the
my
episode,
pen.
I went like this because I was like, what is going on here?
Just clicking my pen.
Yeah, to take it outside and to take it's so bold.
Very.
To think you wouldn't get caught or to think that like people wouldn't notice something. Like,
here's the thing. I joked at it at the top. Misinformation and like spreading conspiracies that go off the deep end is something I want to be very careful about. That's why we're talking about some of the things that turned out to be real. There are tons of times where people talk about the government. I'm not going to get into all that. But this is a moment where, I mean, this is a leg that people kind of stand on for those types of conspiracies. And interestingly enough, this one turned out to be more truth, but it's wild.
That's just way too many people on LSD?
Yeah.
It's not a subtle thing.
Right. Their eyes go, and then they start seeing waves, and then they start listening to soft rock.
Yeah, the fact that everyone's listening to Nickelback.
Okay, it is the 70s. All right, the next conspiracy that turned out to be true was that the US government was stealing people across the world in order to study the effects of radiation. I'll let you cook on that one.
Stealing? Okay, what caused, was there a radiation surge?
Well, there was a lot more nuclear testing, obviously testing nuclear bombs of new and bigger sizes, whatever the technical term would be.
Right, yeah.
But different volumes.
Okay.
And also,
so then how does that translate to taking people you said around the world?
Around the world.
Why not at the site?
Because at the site,
I guess.
That's our people. We're busy sticking them with LSD.
Oh, so you're talking about like shooting the nuke and then grabbing people from the air.
Yeah. So the conspiracy is alarmist, right? It talks about kidnapping babies out of cribs and stuff like that, but it's a little less sinister. So let's dive in. A report in the late 50s came from a grieving British mother who was not allowed to dress her daughter for her funeral, which led to an article alleging that the government was engaging in body snatching and for research purposes. This then led to an investigation that revealed the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, as well as parts of the U.S. Air Force, had obtained over 1,500 body part samples, primarily from children, without permission. Now, to clarify, the truth within this conspiracy is that they were basically, as it were, grave robbing. It wasn't that they were snatching live humans from across the world, but they were obtaining
the bodies.
secretly, body parts to see then how radiation would have an impact on the body, because they're starting to blow these things up more.
Yeah,
see
so
what
they're
happens.
just like, what? I mean, especially if it's like with younger adults, like, how severe was it? Or maybe even this is just me thinking here, like, if it was a child born like shortly after or something like that, like how would it affect like fetuses in the womb or whatnot? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like the different stages of radiation and like how it hits different people in the different, the different like stage of their life and whatnot.
Absolutely. How does it hit younger people versus, older folks? And
I can't imagine that they're just like, so they just did that, which is just wrong.
Right.
And then like a mother wanted to see their child and there's like,
technically she's irradiated and we don't want you getting sick now. It's kind of how it seemed to be.
I would have been like, put me into one of them suits.
Oh, you talking about like Victor Timely and he's like walking out?
Yeah. Put me in one of them big old radiation-proof suits so I can see my child.
Right. I don't know how effective those are. I don't know how heavy they would be. It would just be lead. But to come back to one of the terms I was forgetting, they were basically using nuclear bombs with increasing yield size, and they wanted to take a look at the radioactive isotope strontium-90 in particular, because it was just the Wild West of radiation. We were coming up with all new sorts of technology to damage ourselves.
Or discover the mutant genome.
Right, well, yes.
Within us.
I think that is the conspiracy that we should start now, is that they're trying to figure out how do we activate the X gene.
That's what I'm planting the seed.
It is out there. Wolverine is out there. The next conspiracy that turned out to be true is that, and I think we've all heard of this one. I'm gonna simplify it with one term, 5G.
Wait, what? What?
Get your phone out your pocket, throw it away, put it in a Faraday cage, line your pants with lead.
Turn off Wi-Fi. 5G!
Great signal though. Basically that the government could send waves in order to scramble one's thoughts. Maybe to control them, but also to kind of confuse them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I'll talk about how it started. So let's take you back to 2003. A man named Donald Friedman submitted a Freedom of Information Act requesting info from the US government. He wanted any information on electromagnetic attacks and, quote, very serious crimes against him and other members of his family. Domino effect down the line, he was kind of right in what he was looking for, because in a declassified document called Bioeffects of Selected Non-Lethal Weapons, it revealed that there was a frequency that could be used to send messages to hostages. Not so much in a way to just raw scramble your mind, but maybe almost telepathically send a message. And the document had this to say, quote, microwave hearing is a phenomenon described by human observers as the sensation of buzzing, ticking, hissing, or knocking sounds that originate within or immediately behind the head. We've lightly talked about this in some of our ghost investigations where we talk about electromagnetic fields playing with your mind so you end up feeling uncomfortable or hearing sounds. That is kind of one of the more scientific debunks for when you see things or hear things in an otherwise old building that has its electricity still on. And that could be an element of what's at play here. Our brains are emitting electromagnetic fields, and so it's not wild to think that they could also be impacted. Though I think what makes it a little bit harder to believe, even though it was a declassified document, is that we don't commonly experience this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other flip side of it, right? Like, one, the wild thing is that it's declassified by the government, so it's a thing.
Yeah.
Two, not so common, because then everyone would be, 5G wouldn't be just something that a kid can have on their phone, you know what I mean?
Right. The document even included a fact that designs for seizure-inducing weapons exist. And on top of that, it states something that microwaves of this nature can be blocked with, quote, shielding provided by conductive barriers like metal or metal screens. I would say like a Faraday cage, which is, you put your phone in there, immediately the signal goes dead.
Yeah.
Jillian would like to say, AKA tinfoil hats.
It's real.
It's real, she says.
They're on something.
Okay, this next one, a little less sinister, but still a conspiracy nonetheless, is this, and this one's during the Prohibition era, is when it kind of arose. And the simple idea was that the people were worried that authorities and the government at large were poisoning alcohol to not only prevent people from drinking, but also punish people that did, and kind of create a self-fulfilling preventative measure. And we're talking about the 1920s here in the US, leading up into 31, I think Prohibition ended?
Yeah.
End of 31?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, that was the time when, like, booze was, like, illegal, right?
Yeah, the Roaring 20s.
It just went, then it just went,
like
illegal as all hell.
Right.
Back deals and everything.
Right. Basically what was happening is people started realizing throughout the 20s that people were dying suspiciously after drinking some of this bootleg beer, because once it went illegal, a lot of people were kicking off with moonshine, bootleg items, and just like however they were being produced, they were just coming to the table because you couldn't have kosher ways of getting it.
Yeah, and then you can kind of mask it under the whole, like, well, it's not regulated, it's backdoor deals.
Right. Hey, shouldn't have been having it. Right.
It didn't work out, because look at us now. We got Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Apparently, manufacturers of this bootleg stuff were mixing dangerous chemicals such as methanol into alcoholic drinks even before Prohibition. So even before, because there was a whole disposition on like sinful behaviors and a lot of opinions on drinking at large that then led into Prohibition. Topic for another day. So the U.S. government was asking them to add even more, essentially, to like just up the ingredient, you know, just turn up the heat on the punishment.
What the hell? The U.S. government was like, look, we know what you're doing.
Or they said, don't look.
You're putting a little bit of that little rat juice in there.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. But what if, hear me out, we double it?
What if someone bumped your elbow?
What if we double it and we times that by 8?
Oh my God, double it by 8. Well, unfortunately, by the end of the era, 10,000 people had died from poisoned alcohol.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it did nothing. Alcohol's still, everyone's still throwing it back at the club.
Right, well now it's
Sipping
legal.
on gin and juice.
Laid back. I mean, anytime, and I don't drink very often anymore, but anytime I drink, I go, this is just poison. This poison makes me feel silly.
I mean, yeah, what is it? Dehydrates you, and it's not the best.
It wreaks a little havoc.
But you go, woo.
Woo. Makes you a woo boy?
It makes me,
Makes you a woo boy on the dance floor.
Woo.
So the next conspiracy, now this is wild that this one was a conspiracy. So asbestos. I think we all know a little bit about the poisoning and cancerous effects, the carcinogenic effects of asbestos. It was used for insulation, ceiling tiles, and basically toothpaste. I don't know, it was in everything.
That is...
throughout the mid-century.
That sucks.
Oh yeah, well, we know that now. But there was a conspiracy around this for decades. In the 1920s, scientists were reporting that asbestos related to many illnesses. And this is in the 1920s.
Oh, decades!
Decades. It wasn't really being pulled out of products and made illegal until like the 1970s. That's when lawsuits against asbestos finally started to influence how people made things and how people started to look at the products they bought in the US and beyond. But yeah, dude, I had no idea.
You said decades, that's plural, so we're talking at least 20 years, probably more.
Yeah.
Of just scientists, people who are knowledgeable, have degrees in this field, saying that this is a harmful, chemical?
Yes.
And, oh man, it's just the money behind it.
Yep, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, because it became clear, looking back, after these lawsuits started to expose these companies, that the companies were working very hard to make sure that any research relating to the effects of asbestos were not coming to light, try to convince, maybe pay off government officials
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Right.
That's such a clear cut,
There are hush monies out there saying,
God.
government, don't look any closer. Employees, you might know some stuff, but shh.
Yeah, here's a bunch of money. Be quiet.
No way.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, again, we take that knowledge for granted now, thankfully.
Yeah.
Just like leaded gas. And now we're talking about microplastics.
Oh.
That's the current one, so we'll wait until the 2070s for that one. All right, Task Force, this has been another episode of Case Files, and we are gonna be back every other week until the end of this year, 2023, just to timestamp it. Now, if you want bonus episodes of this show, become a first member by going to redwebpod.com/first. It's also the best way to support us. You get all of our content ad-free, among a couple other benefits that you can go see.
Monthly live streams.
Yeah, the monthly live stream.
You want to come hang out with us live?
Yeah.
You could do that.
Right. Feed us your conspiracies, perhaps.
But it's the biggest way to help support this show. You like this show, you want it to keep going, that's the way to do it.
Right. And like I said, you get exclusive episodes of this show every other week in between.
A extra something.
Keeping the dosage alive of Case Files. But anyways, Task Force, thank you so much. Let us know what you think about these conspiracies. Have you heard of them before? Were you worried about them? Now you're aware that they're true. Are there true ones out there that you think are true, conspiracies that you think are true? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Otherwise, we'll see you we'll see the first members next week for another Case Files.
Phone call from my friend Charles Xavier.
5G. Yeah, 5G it is. He likes that 5G. Hold on. Just a little bit more. Good to go. Oh, you know what? I gotta.
That's it.
It's gonna pass out in about 3, 2, 1.